Hello, hello, and welcome. And today I have someone special here, right? Because you already know it's about you putting yourself first, it's about you making yourself a priority. It's all about you. This is empowerment, personal development, you understanding what it means to put you first. And so occasionally we bring in professionals to talk about what that looks like, to get to the root so that we can begin to heal. And today I'm excited about who my guest is. So I'm not going to delay. I want to get Miss Ashlea Taylor in here, guys. Say hello, Ashlea.
Hi, thank you for having me. I
Hey.
am tickled, blessed to be on your show, and congratulations to all of the amazing things you are doing. You deserve it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now, I know that you are a marriage and family therapist.
Yeah.
So, just so people, because we're about to get into it, I want you just to give them a little bit more about who Ashlea is. Just tell us a little bit more about who Ashlea is.
Yes, of course. So Ashlea Marie Taylor, born and raised in Arizona, born in Flagstaff, raised in Phoenix. So give it up for P-Town. I'm a marriage and family therapist. I own my own practice around the Biltmore called Favor and Grace Under Fire, because y'all know the enemy is busy, and we are here for you with favor and grace when you're under fire. And then I also, I'm just running around the city doing a speaking engagements. I have a speaking engagement coaching and retreat business. So talking about your relationship with yourself, your relationship with ministry or God, and your relationship with your workspace. Because let's talk about it. We're at work most of the time, 8 to 10 hours a day. So if you don't like your workspace, your coworkers, or you're not being treated well, it's a problem. So yeah, I'm happily married, been married for 2 years. We took that to Jamaica and came back to the US, and here I am on this show.
Yay, I'm excited. And so I'm glad because I know you are busy, busy, busy. And I'm glad that you thought enough of me
Of
and
course.
the viewers to
Yeah.
share a little bit of that. And so I
Mhm.
want you to know that I appreciate you. So let's get right into it when we think about it because you do a lot.
Mhm.
Let's talk a little bit about the family. And I know,
Yeah.
and one of the reasons why I want to lean in even on the family, because I believe I saw somewhere that you might be referred to as the Black Mary Poppins. Okay. Right.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
let's
yeah.
think about family and we think about the story of Mary Poppins and when she came in, right, to help the kids and to do the things like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
You gotta give us some more about what is this Mary Poppins and how can it help even us right now? How about that? Yeah.
Yeah, so I do that in the first introduction, the first meeting with my clients. I always say that because a lot of people don't know the true root of marriage and family therapy. The true root is that everything we do, we're trained to get to the root of the problem. So I always tell folks, I don't put band-aids on broken bones. If you're walking into this office, you're meeting the Black Mary Poppins. I'm here when you need me and gone when you don't. I don't believe that people need to be in therapy forever for the same issues. I believe that we can eradicate dysfunctional generational patterns and get rid of generational curses if we're talking biblical and spiritual warfare. But with that said, I'm telling people I don't come to play. If we know the enemy, we're going to square up, we're going to take care of it, and then you're going to be out of here.
Okay, if y'all didn't catch it, y'all might want to lean in. And if you left the room, if you got your TV up, I need you to turn up a little louder because she did not come to play. She here. I
Yeah,
love that. You say you're
yeah,
here when they need you and you're gone when they don't. And I
right,
love it, love it, love it
right.
because some people, when you think about even medication, and I know that there's a lot of amazing alternative ways, but some people believe that they have to stay with the thing, and I love that you gave them permission to, even what I heard is that it's okay to have your time with it because the hope is that we're healing. The hope is that we're healing. When we're thinking about you first, it's all about you and your journey and your growth, that you should be getting better. Yes, life will knock us down, but it's like, okay, what do I need to do right up and through here? So how do
Right.
you, because you say they come in, you have to let
Mhm.
them know who they're dealing with so that you can best serve them.
Right.
How do
I'm
you
not the right
handle?
person for you. Right. I might not be the right person for you. So let's not even waste your
Yeah,
time, my time, anybody's time.
yeah. So with that, okay, the fit. When you think about the fit, because you said, what if I'm not the right person? And with that, not only you possibly being not the right fit,
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
we're supposed to be thick because we're blood. What does that mean when sometimes as family, we're not the right fit? How do you approach that when you think about family in therapy?
Ooh, that is difficult. So the thing about family is this, is that families pass actions, thoughts, and behaviors generationally down, right? And what I'm seeing a lot right now is, especially in the African American community and actually any cultural community, any, white, black, Hispanic, Asian, whatever, is that as this newer generation, and I'm talking about, I'm a millennial, I'm 1985. So I'm like in this weird category where I don't exactly identify with the younger millennials as much. But I would say millennials on, there is this clear separation between how our generations have been brought up with mental health thoughts of, mental health is not weakness. Being strong doesn't mean that you can't share your emotions. Um, talking through changes that we want to make in the family, but that's taboo because we've just been doing this for years and years and years. And come to find out, it's actually, a survival skill for African American people. We have a lot of what Dr. DeGroot calls post-slave trade syndrome, where we've taken survival techniques that helped back then, and we're still trying to do the same things right now. And that creates dysfunction because now we are allowed to be emotive. We are allowed to talk about our feelings, whereas back then, you're not going to do that when you're enslaved. You need to keep going. You need to keep pushing through. You need to be in your fight, flight, or freeze. You don't have the opportunity to emote and regulate and talk through emotions. But we're seeing this strife where we have the older generations that are like, if you tell me that we need boundaries, that's disrespectful. But our generation is like, boundaries are actually showing respect. We're showing that we can be individuals and be autonomous, but still within boundaries, relate and move forward and be emotionally family oriented and supportive versus this, we can't talk about anything, we can't have boundaries, we can't express to you our feelings without feeling like there's some type of offense or you thinking we're weak. There is definitely this cross chasm right now generationally when we talk about mental health. So when people say, blood is thick as thin, very thick, talking about family blood is thick, it gets difficult because what does that mean? So you're my family by name, you're my family by blood, but you don't really care to understand me, know me, support the things that I'm doing because we're so generationally different, especially when it comes to mothers and daughters. There is this need for the mother to understand the daughter, but the mother can't understand the daughter in the context that she's currently moving. The mother wants to understand the daughter in the context of how she was moving when she was that age. So there's a Bowenian theory where he literally just talks about how emotional fusion moves through the family. And emotional fusion is really anxiety, right? But that if we don't allow our family members to emote and be themselves and feel comfortable in our, get-togethers and family spaces, you're going to get emotional detachment. So we call it emotional cutoff, where I'm physically available with my family and at my events, but I don't really share with them my deeper inner thoughts or my vulnerabilities. And I feel like they don't even know who I am. And that's because families get these rigid thought processes of who and what everyone should be doing or feeling. And if it doesn't fit in that comfort zone, it creates fear. Fear of, understanding who my sister is or who my child is or who my husband is, because our brains are a pattern seeking organism, right? So with that said, our brains are used to comfort, which is the pattern, but comfort doesn't necessarily equal healthy. It doesn't necessarily equal healthy family patterns. It doesn't necessarily equal healthy communication. In your communication, you might be someone who, when there's a conflict, you freeze. Which means you might decide to avoid, you might decide to deflect by telling jokes or asking a question of someone who asked you a question, so they forget about their question. Or you might repeat back the same thing that they're saying and make it a joke. But you may freeze, where you try to, you literally just don't do anything, don't say anything, and that person's like, hello, are you here?
Yeah.
These type of defense mechanisms create division, but it's actually because your body is frozen and you haven't worked past that issue. But I see a lot of this stuff happening in families, Shawanna, where it's like, why do we need to talk about stuff? But then you have the younger generations who've been immersed in mental health and how emotional development is positive, and they're like, you're shutting me down, but I'm not going to be shut down by your old style defense mechanisms. So then we have no communication, and to the folks who are used to the older style of communication, they call it disrespectful, right? Because we might be challenging their comfort. But comfort doesn't equal functional. Sometimes it equals dysfunction, and it doesn't equal healthy. Just because you've been doing it or just because your mom did it doesn't mean that right now in 2024 it's healthy and it's going to move your relationships further. So it's an interesting time in our communication space where we really have to look at, are we giving the individual the opportunity to be them? Just because we're from the same blood doesn't mean that we're all going to communicate the same or need the same patterns.
But how
Because
do we then exist in the house when you have, because when you think about fit, and it's not even, it's, yes, we love the word peace, but then there needs to be a sense of harmony. Then that means because everybody have a responsibility. We know that there are plenty of personalities, right? I'm helping people that you got a lot going on. You know me, I'm the second oldest of five girls. So when you think about having sisters, that's a lot going on.
yeah,
And to understand it, of course, we all have our own different experiences. And it was a few years ago, some things were going on, because we all have dealt with and had to deal with some form of trauma in our life, right? And then we all heal differently,
right.
and in different ways and in different times. However, it wasn't even brought to my attention that one of my sisters, we were having a discussion, and when we were younger, because of some things that happened to me, I was in my own world. But later in life, she was
Dissociated.
like, I feel that you left me. Now I didn't physically go anywhere.
Emotionally. Yep.
Yeah, she says she felt that I left her, and I'm like, well, I didn't even know, because for me, I was trying to be, I was in survival mode. I
Right.
wasn't froze. I'm in survival mode,
Right.
so I had
Right.
no idea. So
You
how
and
do
that's
you? Yeah, what do we do about that? How do we help the people that are looking, that are listening, to then say people have to be okay too? Because sometimes people think that people are mind readers, and they're not. They're not.
right. And I mean, I think it's also one of those things of like, there has to be an opportunity for the vulnerability of, like, in this case, obviously you guys were young, right? So your
Yeah.
sister probably just internalized it like, oh, she doesn't like me, or oh, she doesn't want to be around me. Which is difficult, like, because when you're younger, you don't know any of this stuff, right? So I think some of the healing really comes later, like it is with you guys right now, where you both can verbalize, like she can verbalize and say, I felt like you left me. And you can verbalize and say, if you felt comfortable sharing that traumatic event, you can verbalize and say, uh, I wasn't even there for myself. Because when you dissociate, you're going through the movements of life, but you're not emotionally present. And when you're not emotionally present, your brain and your nervous system join together to keep you safe. So safety equals keep doing the same routines, but there's no emotional inventory being taken in.
Right,
And
you
that's,
said safety means keep doing the same thing.
yes, when it comes
Mm.
to when your nervous system is attacked like that and you go into, I would say, freeze, or even fawning, which we can talk about if we have time. But when you go into freeze or fawning, um, safety looks like if I just keep doing the same thing, which equals comfort. Because remember, comfort to people is repetitive patterns, because it gives them comfort because it gives them control, because they at least know what's going to happen. And it's the hope that if I keep doing the stuff that we were doing before I had the trauma, maybe I can cope with the trauma and I don't have to, in a way where I don't have to think about it, and maybe it won't happen again. And this is, similar to those cases where, unfortunately people are being sexually assaulted or molested at young ages, right? Like there may be an attempt to tell somebody, but if it doesn't go well, then the other safety mechanism is to just keep doing the things that you normally do and hoping that that threat doesn't come, right? And it's also because your brain is a pattern seeking organism. So when your emotions have to be pushed down and you go into dissociation where you're just doing the physical movements of your normal day, your brain relies on what it knew before, because right now you're not in the present. That trauma shut you down for safety. And so it's very unexplainable for folks who knew you, right? It's like, well, when I knew her then she was like this, but then all of a sudden she changed, and they assume that you've made a personality choice, or they assume that you don't want to be around them, don't like them, or you're just being disrespectful. But really, you're a shell of yourself. You're a shell
Are
of
there
yourself.
some signs? Are there some signs? Is there some things that people can start to look out for, to know if there are some signs? Like you said, I understand for some, if for some children, if they're normally active, if they're normally a little bit loud, big voice, but then they tend to get quiet, you really do need to lean in to see if there are some things happening. Are there other signs? Like in my case, I don't want to say I froze. I think I internalized. I think I was, being the age that I was when those things were occurring, I was trying to protect myself. I was in fear of
Yeah,
what would happen if I said anything, because
yeah,
so all of these things were going on. Are there some signs so that people, even in today's time, today's age,
yeah.
so what would that look like to even help someone?
Yes. So this is not my expertise area anymore. So leaving space for another guest to come on and give, the newest updates. But just from my studies and just from being in this field for 12 years, right? So like you said, Shauna, if your child has a drastic change in personality, you know what I mean? There's something wrong. Kids can't always articulate, and we know this, but I'm saying out loud because it's a highlight, right? To, kind of click on that light switch for
Yeah.
parents. Kids can't always articulate exactly what's going to happen, and also you have to think about when that does happen, their body automatically goes into a fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, which is not putting them in the present to feel safe enough to tell you. Because a lot of times parents will be like, oh my God, my kid didn't feel safe enough to tell me. And I thought we created this, very communicative, safe environment they would tell you. But it's not you. Like Shauna said, she internalized the trauma that happened to her. And then when you internalize it, like I must have done something wrong, it must have been my fault. And kids are very likely to do that, especially under the age of 10. They take everything internally, right? That's developmental, because that part of their brain isn't fully developed yet. And by the way, your brain doesn't develop fully until the age of 25. So
Mhm.
imagine. So
Is
your
there a
brain,
myth with males versus females? Is that just a myth?
um, shut it, you over here telling jokes, catching me off guard.
Hey, now I'm just saying, I'm listening at you, right? Hey, and this is about you, right? Come on, self firsters, come on. Y'all know Shawanna try to bring it to you how she hear it. Is that a myth? Okay. For the sake of safety, we're gonna
Listen,
say that
the
is a
research,
myth.
the research that I read, no, it's not a myth. I mean, no, it is a myth. Like the brain develops, everything develops. That was a slip because I know we messed them in, and we're like, is it all there? Shawana, did some of the past, men that we've come across, some of them frogs, was it all there? No. I know, but the research says everyone, men and women, brains are developed by the age of 25. So yeah, so you can't take it personally, if you are providing a safe environment, a safe, a healthy, communicative environment. But some of the signs are, your child's personality changes drastically. They were outgoing and they weren't afraid to go to certain places. They weren't afraid of people, just things like that. And all of a sudden they are. When your child tells you they don't want to go somewhere, sometimes we're just so busy in our daily routine. This daycare fit into this your work
Mhm.
route, whatever, that we're just like, oh, no, it's okay. Sit down and talk to them about it, or take them to their favorite place so they feel comfortable, and listen to them. If your child starts wetting the bed and they've already been potty trained, if the child starts
Mhm.
becoming afraid of the dark and they weren't afraid of the dark, so really just looking of all of a sudden your child is regressing in behaviors, and you can't figure out why, you know. And once again, don't internalize it. A lot of times we'll be like, oh no, it's something that I did, when really we just need to keep providing the safe space for your child to be able to tell you.
No, I love it. I love it. Thank you for sharing that. Now, my guys, y'all know I love you. I was teasing. I was teasing. This is really great because understanding and tapping into and being able to connect, because we need connection, right? We say we know some of the people that we consider our family is not necessarily blood. They're not. But we're graced and we're gifted with these people that God brings along our path. I
Hmm.
want to know, what does that look like in your experience, in your professional experience? How do you help to even navigate that? How do you help someone that they don't even want to go to therapy, but they really do need to talk to somebody? And I know because you do marriage and family, how can you help someone today, to when I think about they really need to see someone like you? Talk to those people for a minute. How can you help them to make it okay to make that phone call? Talk to us for a moment.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a really difficult question. And if you have a relationship with God, this is a huge prayer point. Like, this is, put this at the top of your list, and, honestly, ask God, to shepherd this experience, that this person feels safe enough to go to see a therapist. If they're also a believer, sorry, look at the enemy trying to get my voice. Rebuke that in the name of Jesus. Jesus, amen. But anyways, if they are a believer, maybe help them find some Christian therapists. Maybe help them look for a therapist, and maybe just email it and be like, what are your thoughts? Have some soft conversations, meaning, check your tone, check your own emotionality, make sure you're regulated, where you're just tossing out the suggestion of getting some help, going to therapy. Maybe asking circular questions around, like, what are their long-term beliefs about therapy? Where did they get those beliefs? If you know anybody who's gone to therapy, give what we call a displacement story, a story about somebody else's experience, or if you have your own testimony. But especially in different cultures, the communal okay, goes a long way. So This is why word of mouth is huge. So if you have a personal testimony, or you can get somebody else who has a personal testimony to talk to them, or you can share that, that's always good, because we feel better. We want to shop at the store that our friend or our families are like, oh yeah, you can get a good deal there, or yeah, they have quality clothes. So word of mouth is huge. And also just maybe explore, like, is it the difference of a therapist and coach? Because some people are stuck and just want a simple game plan. Um, but other people's never want to deal with this ever again. So a therapist who can get to the root of the problem and eradicate those dysfunctional patterns would be good for that as well. But it's so hard, but patience is key, right? Because those of us who have gone to therapy, we understand and know the transformation, and we so badly just want that for our family member. But our patience is coming from the understanding that it's simply fear of, sometimes what they're going to uncover. Because a lot of times our traumas, we don't fully remember everything that happened, and the missing pieces, it creates fear. And there's two options of how to deal with fear. You're going to either face everything and rise, or forget everything and run. And so your family members right now are forgetting everything and running. And that may not even be a conscious choice, because once again, as soon as your nervous system spots a trauma, it goes into fight, flight, freeze, or fawning. And fawning is usually when there's some type of power differential, and instead of you speaking up and saying what you would want to say, or you doing what you would want to do, you actually decide to do the things that you've been doing because it creates safety. So, like fawning, like, oh, why didn't I say anything? Or, why do I keep going to this family dinner and everybody just picks on me? It's because you're trying not to get any heat from the authority figure or the power differential. You're trying not to make anybody upset, so things keep happening, or you're trying not to rock the boat, but you end up becoming emotionally or physically cut off anyway. So this is why attending a boundaries class or reading a boundaries book is really helpful, because it'll help you understand that you silencing yourself is not making you feel better. Sometimes it can create emotional dis-ease, which creates physical disease. So anyway, just looking at that mindset of, I think also I talk a lot about with my clients, like, understanding the personality of the person that you're talking to, because a lot of times we communicate with folks the way we would like to be communicated with. This is kind of like the love languages. Like, we give people the love languages that we like, but it's not necessarily what's meeting their unmet need. So it's like, how does this person like to be communicated with versus how you like to be communicated with? Some people really love a full-on thoughtful conversation first, of a hello, how are you? You knowing an intimate detail or something specific about their life, like coworkers, I'm always like, hey, I heard you had a flat tire. If that was the case, is everything okay? They want to have a full on conversation and connection before you talk about business, right? But other people, they just want you to get straight to the point, right? So it's a bullet pointed, hey, we have a meeting tomorrow. I need these stats, I need these statistics, and I'll see you then. Some people just want a general overview. You don't have to give them all the information. You don't even have to give them eye contact, and they're good. And other people, they want the presentation to be stylish, entertaining, fun. Let's put some music on it. Let's put some colors on it. So it's like, who are you talking to? Someone who likes fun and excitement, you know, are you going to them and saying, yeah, therapy, you're going to come out not feeling good sometimes, or maybe that's their worst fear. I don't know. But really taking a look at the person that you're communicating with, and then being strategic about how you help them change the negative mindset or thoughts about therapy, or even talking through their fears. Some people just bottle everything up, and it's the fear is becomes so catastrophized in their head, or maybe there's some shame, blame, and guilt about what they even need to talk about, and they're even embarrassed to tell a therapist. You know, so many deep roots to people. People are just like these trees with all these roots underneath that we can't even see. So it really just depends. But the best advice is really taking a look at the person, trying to understand who they are, maybe observing in other social settings how they respond best to people, and going that route.
Yeah. This has been This has been an awesome conversation today with Miss Ashlea Taylor. Mrs. Ashlea Taylor, that's right. She's new. I think she still can be considered to be a newlywed, right? We
Mhm.
definitely appreciate you lending your expertise to the conversation today about you first, because it's all about you, and you, and whether you, because I do love how you broke down even talking about fawning, because that's not something that people talk about. We call it something else, and you stressing the fact of the boundaries. That is so important. And I know for some people, like we hear that all the time, but the reason why we have to keep talking about it is because it's not being done. And if everybody take the time to know what that looks like and feel like for themselves, then we all will have a better understanding of even each other. And
Right.
so I just want to know, and I just want to appreciate you for this conversation today. And is there anything else that you would like to leave with our viewers today, Miss Ashlea?
Yes, yes, I agree with the statement of put yourself first. Even when we're talking about relationships, there's a structural dynamic where you need to be a whole person first, and then whoever you join with also needs to be a whole person first. And I'm talking about mind, body, and soul understanding of who you are, and your relationship with your higher power, or whatever it may be. But having an understanding of who you are in the world, versus yourself, and then you bring that together as a whole, and that could be a marriage, that could be a coupleship, that could be a friendship, whatever relationship that is. That could be your relationship with your job, your ministry, or yourself. You have to have a clear understanding of who you are, and do that work if needed, for you to have healthy relationships. It was a beautiful
Love
time.
it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ashley, for stopping by the You First. Look, this is our virtual couch, and we appreciate you. Ashley, don't you go nowhere. Let me get them out of here. Let me get them out of here. Hey guys, this again is Shawanna Kennedy. I want you to know that it is about you, and I don't just say that. It's not just a cliche. In order for us to be of greater service to ourselves, how about that? We're going to start with us. Remember, this is the space, this is the place that it gets to be all about who? The who is you. And not only when you know, because you heard that talking about who do you believe in, right? If you know that there is a higher power, that there is God, if you're a person of faith, you have to understand that you are the gift. And remember that you are the gift, and that gift needs to be tended to. And whether that's through some form of therapy, you taking time away, you having the courageous, uncomfortable conversations with yourself, then I am asking you, I am challenging you to do those things today, because we're not promised a tomorrow. And I want you to be your best self. When? Right now. You already know, you already know. Make sure you are like, sharing, and following. Tell somebody about it. Let them know if they want to talk about themselves. This is that place. I'm your girl, Shawanna Kennedy. Thank you for joining me for another episode of You First. Bye for now.